Peace and blessings and namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It is I, Sophie, today. And today I'm going to show you how to find Sophia and how the divine feminine has been hidden in plain sight for ages in your religious texts, in your religious books, and not being recognized. Her story is one that is profound. And if you know what era you are in, then you already knew that she was coming, okay? Where can you find that she was coming? Oh, you have to look in the books of Matthew and pay attention to what Jesus said to his disciples, okay? Basically, what he had warned them and told them is then the ending of one age and going into the new age, that he had to depart so that the Comforter can come. Now, it is written in your Greek as a he, that the Comforter is a he, and that is so incredibly wrong. We don't know if it was a mistranslation or if it was done on purpose, because a lot of information about the divine feminine has been hidden on purpose. But what we do know is that the comforter, the nurturer, the lover, the creator, all of those principles belong to the divine feminine. All right? The Ruach HaKodesh, and what they refer to as the spirit, wind, or breath, or the Holy Spirit, is feminine. What was she designed to do at the end of one era and entering into the new era? Perfect them in all matters of understanding. She is also known as the spirit of truth. And she will also bring back to remembrance everything that was taught with a different level of understanding. I'm here to tell you that that energy is here. It is here, and we all have the ability to tap into it. Another place you can find her is in Psalms. It is when they say truth and righteousness meets and kisses one another. We already know that the Comforter is identified with the Spirit of Truth, which is identified with the Holy Spirit, which is identified with a very strong feminine energy, okay? Truth and righteousness, they're supposed to meet and kiss one another. And when they kiss one another, that's when all understanding becomes perfected. Remember, I kept talking about the principal child of understanding, not being a physical one, but achieving a certain level of consciousness so that you can escape the confounds of your minds in this matrix system and the two paths that were laid before you. Once you receive the principles of understanding, that's when the third path is unveiled. But here she is, represented as truth, meeting righteousness. And it also says that truth comes from the earth and righteousness is the Father. When did the Sophia hit the earth realms? She hit it with her fall, when she chased after the light. That was not the true light of creation. She's also known as the woman with the 12 stars crowned around her head, representing her 12 brothers. You will also see that teaching mirrored with Jesus, the Magdalene, and 12 disciples. Wake up now. It's time to wake up. You're in the season of the great revealing of all truths. We're here to assist this, okay? This story has been mirrored over and over and over again for each level of understanding that you achieve. When you go back and revisit and reread some of the things that you thought that you outgrew, you will now see very clearly that the Sophia, the divine feminine, was always there. All right? Another couple, David and Bathsheba, Those who studied the Zohar and the Kabbalion understood that there was a difference between a Zavug union, soulmate, and a Bashet union, which was supposed to be the perfect divine soulmate, or what some like to refer to here as twin flames. We call it the perfect pairing, okay? And you'll see that in David and Bathsheba. More than one soulmate we can have throughout our journeys, but the perfect divine couple is perfection in and of itself. And this principle is mirrored in the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. This is why we always push the principles of achieving equilibrium, so that you have this understanding, because this divine masculine and divine feminine principle can be achieved individually or as a union. Another way that you will find it is in the Songs of Solomon. I know you read them before. Read them again. The king, the great king, that was supposed to be the wisest man alive, gets challenged by the queen, Sheba. She comes through and perfects his knowledge. They pair. They go off, and a new, more perfected Bible was created in Ethiopia. Why were you written out, divine feminine? Well, first of all, because of your confrontational nature. See, if you go back to the old books of Genesis, even though there are varying teachings concerning Genesis and Adam and Eve and stuff like that, the more esoteric teachings can be found in the Nag Hammadi libraries, okay? But for the basics teachings, the divine feminine was the first to challenge the Elohim. When he told her not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil because she would die. She challenged that thought and did it anyway and gave it to her husband. Why? If you do not have the ability to discern between good and evil, then you don't have the ability to challenge the information that is being presented to you or to recognize the intentions behind the information. So knowledge was necessary. The principle behind the divine feminine mirrors the Shiva Shakti, okay? The Shiva Shakti integration, the perfection of the unions, the perfection of the understanding. Remember, I kept telling you the divine child has to come forth during this time. And that is the key principle of understanding, not a physical birth. Shiva Shakti integration. This is the Shiva Mudra. For those of you who like mudras, I like mudra. This is the Shiva Mudra. This is the phallus. This is the yoni. It is represented in the Shiva Linga. The Shiva Linga. This is the phallus. This is the yoni. What comes forth from it? Seminal fluid, symbolizing creation in its balance. Okay? Both masculine and feminine principles uniting to bring forth something. Creation in its balance. 3 notches on the Shiva Linga. Creation, feminine principle. Observation and judgment, second logos. And then you have destruction. 3 different functions of consciousness. Feminine and masculine. Truth and righteousness. Going forth into this new age of Aquarius, are divine pairings and couplings that is replicating itself in a physical form, mental form, and spiritual form. We have entered an age where all false relationships dissolve and new ones emerge. These relationships are necessary for your evolutionary growth. Now, some of you may walk this path alone. Some of you may not need your divine pair because you have already achieved the equilibrium and is considered balanced, okay, with your masculine and your feminine principles. And you have chosen to journey in this last portion alone and continually developing self for the sake of humanity. Others are constantly longing for their divine pair. See, Shiva longs for Shakti. Shakti longs for Shiva because they understand that they are incomplete without the counterparts. Everyone here is on a spiritual journey to merge this within self and also to reflect it outwardly. Notice that they said righteousness and truth met and kissed. Kissing takes place in the head region. Okay? So we're talking about the Godhead at this moment. Matching. Understanding grows here and here. Once you reach this principle of understanding through practicing equilibrium and balancing out the natures of duality into universal oneness, this is when the third path that is hidden emerges. This is when you start to achieve that highest level of consciousness that will free your mind from the trappings of this world. Hidden teachings concerning the Sophia, some demonized her. Some saw her for what she really, really was. Love. The demonization towards the divine feminine was done out of ignorance, not hatred. If you understand what I have been saying to you for a long time, as far as each eon, each evolution, each cycle of this earth perfects itself, learns from the previous, and is continually expanding, and truths are continually being revealed, and new truths are continually being perfected, then you understand that all of this was simply part of the journey too. What is always going to be presented to you is two sides to get you into that realm of duality. The third is achieved when balance is achieved, when equilibrium is achieved, and when truth and righteousness finally kiss one another. Manifesting is in the Shiva mudra because it is the creation mudra. It is where the principles of all exist. You knew the time was coming when Sophia would start to speak. And my cat is a mess. When her energy was going to make her presence on this earth. She is a comforter. The High Master Jesus, when he discovered her, came back to continue to prepare and to teach concerning her arrival. It was necessary to usher into the new age, as we all are identifying with our sovereign divinity and our consciousness connected directly to source. What did they do with our divine feminine? They slandered her. Yeah. The woman with the 12 stars above her head that was swallowed up, chased with a flood, chased by a flood, and swallowed up to the earth. That woman is the divine feminine principle of Sophia. That flood was her enemies, and the earth is where she remained protected until it was time for her ascension. And you've seen her. You've read about her in various teachings, but you didn't know how to identify with her. And now is the time that you will. You can tap into that consciousness at any time and start to develop yourself. Achieving equilibrium individually is all about the balance, the nature of masculine, feminine principles integrated into an androgynous energy. That androgynous energy encompasses the all. However, in a world of matter, it manifests in duality because that is what this realm represents. And even though we are on this realm acting out in physical matter, reflecting of what is spiritual, you will find that you will find your divine coupling as well. If you have the ability to recognize your pair. If not, that's fine too. You'll just get another one. Nothing to fret over. We'll go into a little bit of heavier teachings concerning this, but I will leave you with this one thought. Do you know who the Black Madonna is? Some say it's the Virgin Mary. But no, there's already a statue that represents that concept. So let me explain this to you from antiquity and wisdom. The Black Madonna is simply the black statue holding the child without the masculine. This is representative of Sophia and Yaldaboath, which we will talk into a little bit later. The perfect union consists of the man, the woman, and the child. And they say that that's Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, or Isis, Osiris, and Horus. What's important to know in all of these is the baby Jesus, or the Horus, is the byproduct of the perfection of knowledge and wisdom. So one you have is incomplete. The Sophia and the Yaldaboath. The second is complete. The family unit that brings forth the Horus. And what exactly is the Horus? It's the lightning, the enlightening, the crystals, the achievement, the illumination, the third path that is hidden. That's all for today. I am Sophie, and I love you all.